Welcome back to Explain America. This is your host, Kyle Becker. Comrade Bernie Sanders has gotten some praise for telling the truth about Donald Trump. He has come out and given a statement that a lot of people, well, they're shaking their heads and their eyebrows are raised, and they can't believe what Sanders just said about Trump. But before we get into the story, please like, share, and comment at Explain America. Join us. We appreciate your support for common sense journalism. Bernie Sanders, he's somewhat of a left-wing populist, so there's a little bit of overlap between himself and Donald Trump. And if you go back into Sanders' history, he has agreed with Trump's positions for some time on things like NAFTA and our trade imbalance and standing up for U.S. workers. So, and even tariffs for that matter. So Bernie Sanders has some overlap with Donald Trump, but what happened on Thursday is one of the first times that we've seen Sanders openly give Donald Trump credit for something that Biden, well, he didn't do at all. Let's watch.
If you don't have any borders, then you don't have a nation, right? In a sense. So has historically the United States done well under Democrats and Republicans in protecting the border? The answer is no. Trump did a better job. I don't like Trump, but we should have a secure border. And it ain't that hard to do. Biden didn't do it. Those before him did not do it. We should have a secure border, period.
So this is a stunning admission because the radical left for so long has been getting by on its vitriol about Donald Trump. They've needed to create an enemy in the minds of the American public. They need to create a scapegoat because, quite frankly, it's very difficult for the left to hold its radical coalition together. You have people from Free Palestine supporters to Antifa, to BLM and Latino activists, and they're all disparate groups that are held together by identity politics very loosely, and it's very tough for the radical left to hold this together without creating a boogeyman. So that's why you see them attack Mitt Romney as a Nazi. You see them attack Ron DeSantis, Donald Trump, and then the next one will be J.D. Vance that they go after. And that's already begun. But what Sanders just did is kind of an admission that the Democratic Party has to move on from vilifying Donald Trump because they, quite frankly, look insane. This Trump derangement syndrome, as conservatives call it, fits the mentality of people who cannot give Donald Trump credit for anything that he does, no matter how beneficial it is to the country and to the American public. So when Sanders essentially says if you don't have borders, you don't have a country, and Trump has done a better job securing the border than Biden, which I guess is understatement of the year, but still, it is an important signal that the radical left is going to shift their attention away from Trump to some extent to J.D. Vance. Now, don't get me wrong; they're going to tie J.D. Vance to Trump, but there is a huge problem with this messaging because they have claimed for years and years and years since the 2016 election that Trump is an authoritarian, he's a dictator, he's a fascist. Well, we're going on 2025, and it will be 2028 by the time Trump's second term is up, and there will not have been any fascism. It will just be Trump doing what he promised in the election that the American people voted overwhelmingly for, and securing the border was one of those major promises, and deporting illegal aliens that were allowed, quite frankly, to invade the country under the Biden administration because they essentially stopped enforcing returns or deportations, but they did some sort of superficial deportations, catch and release, and so forth. So the important thing to note about all of this is that there will not have been a track record of any fascism and authoritarianism in this country. On the contrary, that is clear cut from the Biden administration, which, for example, spied on senators and Donald Trump and Mike Pence. We just talked about that Operation Arctic Frost, for example. Mass censorship. I mean, there's a paper trail that shows that the Biden administration pressured big tech to crack down on conservatives and Trump supporters. And there is an extensive list of things that you can complain about the Biden administration. There's its support for lockdowns, for example. The list goes on, but that is really a contrast to the Trump presidencies, which have not been authoritarian in the same way that the Biden administration was. The Trump administration is just enforcing the law to deport illegal aliens. Barack Obama deported 10 times the illegal aliens in the course of his 8 years than Trump has in this term. So, what do you think about this? Bernie Sanders giving Trump praise. Is the radical left ready to move on? Or are they so afflicted with TDS that, they're always going to be obsessed with Orange Man bad no matter what he does? We'll have to keep an eye on this story, and we hope you do too. Thank you for watching Explain America.